Jared Holtz, health care equity strategist at Jefferies. Jared, good to see you again. Thanks so much for joining us. I mean, excuse me. Clearly, vaccination started in the UK today. It seems like that will happen fairly quickly here in the US. Is the expectation that this is already priced into Pfizer's share price?
Well, I think we thought it was, but the stocks continue to go up on nearly every headline that come across. You know, whether it's approval, whether it's data, it's fairly unprecedented where you see such a consistent move in stocks such as, Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna. They seem to be all catching a bid with the release of any news, whether it's significant or not. We kind of thought that, once the excitement had abated, so to speak, we had the data out and it was really more about execution, that the stocks would have started to languish to some degree. That has not been the case at all so far.
What more did we learn today about the AstraZeneca vaccine candidate? And could that, or potentially the J&J one, derail the share prices of Moderna and Pfizer, given that the latter two's vaccine is a lot more expensive?
Well, I think the market sort of made up its mind, for better or worse, on Moderna and Pfizer as being the two category winners at this point, with AstraZeneca in a distant third. We've heard from many that, potentially the AZN vaccine will be used in the developing world for, regions or countries that are more price sensitive. That kind of makes sense. I don't really know whether, the new findings that were released today from AstraZeneca are going to make a big dent. We have 90 to 95% efficacy from Pfizer and Moderna. That's considered the gold standard as we speak. And we'll see what happens with J&J. I think, I agree. I think, as you mentioned, this is going to be one program that will be under scrutiny as one injection that doesn't need the same sort of supply chain constraints that the others do. And if this shows, anything in the realm of 90%, I think this is what could, really, dampen the day for Moderna and Pfizer short term.
You mentioned execution, Jared. This is going to be a Herculean task for the government, for the companies. Is Moderna up to the challenge? They showed that they were able to do a really big stage 3 clinical trial, which is something I think new for them. This whole idea of mass producing a vaccination is also new. What are your expectations?
We have no idea, Sarah. I couldn't tell you. I mean, this is really going to be the first commercial release for the company. It's going to be the first widely released mRNA technology that, that's the market has sort of received. The supply chain and the logistical component is something we, as an investment base have not really seen before on this scale. You're talking about hundreds of millions of patients that are, viable candidates for receiving the vaccine. We don't know. I mean, the clinical trial itself seemed like it wasn't that big of a deal when you sort of consider how many companies have wound up running successful clinical trials over the past 6 to 9 months in this vein. So it's tough to know whether the success of running a trial has much to do with the success of executing to this scale, but we'll have to see. I just don't know.
Jared, is it achievable to issue 100 million doses in President-elect Biden's first 100 days?
It seems achievable. I mean, the companies are very adamant that they have the manufacturing under control. This is going to be one of the most highly anticipated drug rollouts in the history of the country, in the history of the world, in many respects. I think it's feasible. I mean, Pfizer is set to release 50 million doses between now and the end of the year. So, potentially another 50 to 100 by, the first quarter of next year, give or take. I'm not sure exactly what date that brings us out to, but April or May of next year, that seems reasonable. What I'm trying to, better understand is, the government has, procured contracts with both Pfizer and Moderna for, more people than exist in the country. So we'll have to see how this all plays out with the pricing dynamics over time.
Yeah, we should be so lucky to only have more than we need. Jared, thank you. Jared Holtz, we appreciate it, at Jefferies.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.